Downtime in the ring.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. This week, we're going to try something a little different. And of course, you guys know we are always graced to have a good partnership with one promotion here in New Mexico called Phase One Pro. So it would only make sense that we actually go and do something big for their final show of the year. We actually have a member of their staff here, and we are going to go over the match card for Bump Card. Ray Basura is our guest this week.
Oh, thank you so much, Don, Chris. It's been such a pleasure getting a chance to work with you guys, and we're such great fans of the work that you guys are doing. And again, it's great to see the wrestling community in New Mexico growing, and you guys are such a big part of that community. And like, I really can't emphasize that enough about how people like you are what's helping build the things that are going on in this state. And like, us running a show would be nothing if there weren't people there who wanted to talk about it and discuss it and be excited about the things that are happening. So from the bottoms of our heart, we want to thank you guys for what you guys do. And it's just a pleasure to get a chance to work with you guys and be media partners for these last few events. It's been great.
I really appreciate that. But first, Donovan, how dare you? You don't properly acknowledge that we have in the presence of royalty here. DWO alumni, the Trash King. How can you not forget that?
I forgot. I forgot. He showed me the trash. He showed me a little bit into his past a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh my god."
I laid the crown down. It's okay, Donovan. You don't have to bend the knee anymore. The crown it rests on the shelf where it belongs. Who knows if it'll ever be picked up again? But for now, you'll get a pass today.
We got to get a picture now of me just bending at the knee. You are actually from our neck of the woods. From a oil-ridden town known as Carlsbad.
I mean, we could call it, maybe a cave town, a guano town.
Guano town. Yeah.
But yeah, Carlsbad, New Mexico. That's where I was born and raised. Moved up to Albuquerque in 2010 and found Destiny Wrestling, and just really was able to take me a lot of places to do a lot of amazing things. But Carlsbad is where it all began. I was always a fan of wrestling, and I had a friend who was living up here who was starting his training with Destiny Wrestling, and he's like, come give it a shot, come take a look at things. And my very first day there, I was like, this is what I got to do. This is what I got to figure out how to be here, and found the shittiest apartment I could find that I could pay month to month, and just like got my foot in the door until I could find all of my bearings here in the city. And it was a lot of work, but it all paid off. I am super thankful for the decade of wrestling that I got from, just those getting my foot in the door at Destiny Wrestling. It was amazing for me.
In Carlsbad, did you ever attend a lot of the El Paso shows, or did you kind of just, if a show hit New Mexico or West Texas, were you just always there? Or how did your love of wrestling end up expanding into doing all this stuff in the future?
Yeah, so I think the only WWE show that I got to, I went to two. I went to a Raw house show in Abilene, Texas, and then I got to go to a SmackDown house show in El Paso. So there's never going to be any wrestling shows coming through Carlsbad, as you guys probably know. They're just, that southern part of New Mexico really gets the snub. But if you're able to go to maybe Lubbock, I think they pop over to Lubbock sometimes, El Paso or Cruces, that was really your only chances to maybe catch them. So for a house shows, actual live wrestling, I only really had those two as I was growing up that I had an opportunity to go to. But yeah, it was all just, I had a family member that introduced me to professional wrestling, and he introduced it to me in a way that really connected with me, because I was one of those people that used the F word with wrestling. I was like, this stuff's fake. I can't connect with it. I don't understand why people like it. And I had an uncle that just tore it all down. He's like, you are looking at your entertainment completely wrong. If you want this undead man to be burning this other man alive for real, you really need to look at your life choices. And so that he broke it down how professional wrestling is about creating these stories and creating these moments for people to be caught up in these larger than life scenarios and just have an opportunity to forget about everything that's going on there day to day. You got your asshole boss at work. You get to watch television, see that guy hit his asshole boss with a bedpan. That's like you get to live vicariously through these like larger than life characters. And once I was able to see how that worked, I was a lifetime fan. I was like, this is, going to be something that I'm going to connect with for as long as I can. And then I didn't actually talk about this during my time in professional wrestling very much, but I did a lot of backyard wrestling with my friends in high school. Very dangerous, very, not the way to get your start in wrestling, but being in those small towns, what else did we have? And so we were out there breaking chairs on each other and breaking light tubes out there and just doing these crazy things. But then once I found the right way to do it and a school to get into, it was just my dreams come true being able to find Destiny Wrestling in Albuquerque.
Did at ever one point you in your backyard wrestling promotion, did they ever do the stupid thing and call one of their shows Bash at the Beach?
Oh, not Bash at the Beach, but we did have a Halloween Havoc.
Of course you did. So you're not that far from being retired, really.
Yeah, 2020 was my last match.
Do you ever think you're going to try it one more time? Just one more? More?
I constantly get asked by friends and different people within the community. They're like, retirement's such a soft word, you took a vacation really. But no, I have no interest in coming back to in-ring wrestling, at least right now. But I'm so happy to be working with Phase One and working within the wrestling community in this respect, because my time in wrestling, and I don't want to throw any shade towards anyone or put anybody down, but one of the things that was really challenging is seeing a lot of these guys, these indie wrestlers anyway, these guys that had, they'd been hungry, they had like put in the effort, maybe they'd even had opportunities, like these big opportunities, but then they just kind of like hung around and they continued to be these, like, I guess in their eyes, the big fish in the small pond. And like, I did not want to see myself become that and my spot on the show take away from somebody else who is younger and hungrier than I am and like and has more potential to like shoot off. Like, I wouldn't want me on a show because I know everybody and I have these connections main eventing and have somebody like even on our shows, like a Colt and Mr. Rogers, not have an opportunity to showcase what they have because the Trash King is on a show somewhere. And it's just like, that was where I kind of told myself that I wanted to, at some point, have a hard line where it's just like, okay, you had 10 years and you're not on Monday Night Raw yet. Like, stick with the job that has the health insurance and make the decision that's right for you personally. And I was really happy to be able to do that. January of 2010 was my very first day of professional wrestling training. I stepped through the ropes for the first time, puked, I sweat, I cried. It was all, everything you'd want that first day. And January of 2020, I got to lay the crown down and have my very last match in a promotion that meant a lot to me in Phoenix, Arizona. That was Party Hard Wrestling. I was their multiverse champion for a while over there, and being able to hand that off to a wrestler who I have a lot of faith in for their future. And just Party Hard Wrestling was really good to me during my time in wrestling, and have my last match there was great. And by 2020, Destiny Wrestling had already closed their doors, or I would have had my last match here in Albuquerque. But still, those end caps of having it be January of 2010 to January 2020, 10 years, so that I could look back and be proud of, feels really good.
And like the format for Phase One Pro, as everybody in our audience has heard it time and time again, because me and Chris talk about it all the time, because we love this promotion. obviously. Y'all's format is amazing. You guys want these younger wrestlers to earn it, and you guys are putting them against guys who have been in the business for 5 to 10 to 15, if since we include Gino in this, for 15 plus years, and you guys are having them go up against these veterans, and they are grinding, they are clawing every chance they can. It's refreshing, it's fun, it's always new and unique. And like you said, you never see that guy who's in the main event scene because he knows everybody. You have these guys who have to battle it out every second that they're in there just to get noticed. And it's awesome that we get to be a part of this.
Yeah. There's a team of people that makes up the head of phase one. The actual owner wishes to stay anonymous, but you'll find him at the wrestling shows. You know, he's always out there shaking hands and being thankful for these people to come here, but he wishes to stay anonymous so that he's not a distraction to other things, or people are feeling the need to do one thing to him or another, because he's like happy with being able to own this company, and it's all because of his hard work. Back in, I think it was 2018, this was a little side project that he had been wanting to work on. He was trying to work on this whole underground wrestling promotion that he thought that could be built off of young, hungry talent that have strong characters and strong potential, so that we have this focus on building these wrestlers that can be a whole package, wrestlers that can perform at the highest of their ability, that can create these characters that people can connect with, or even find ways of having their personality create to an audience, so that they can have a platform to go to these bigger shows and get more opportunities. And so this has been kind of a long time coming. And when he approached me and said that this is something he wanted to work on and we wanted to work together, it was obviously it was the right thing to do. I said, this is where I can work with young students and give them chances to be better, and give them direct feedback and critiques on what they can do, so that the next opportunity they have when GCW is knocking, they are ready and ready to go. And it's they're the ones who are working in their schools. They're the ones working in the gym. They're the ones putting in their blood and sweat in the ring. Being able to give them a platform to have an audience see that hard work is just very rewarding.
Your role there is creative consultants. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, definitely. So, my community that I created in my time in wrestling is very different than the community of the other gentlemen who are involved in it. And so, in the very beginning, it was just, hey, I have these spots on the show that I need filled. Do you know somebody that would fit this role? And he's like, I need somebody that can play this type of character, or I have this idea for a part of the show where I need somebody who can be like a high flyer, or I need somebody who can be just a really terrible heel, somebody that. And so I'm like, here's a list. And I would just send them, my contacts, all the people that I knew. And then the next thing they're like, hey, you're, a pretty competent graphic designer. Could you help us with some flyers? And so then really it started becoming just anything on the creative side that I could either give feedback for guys on their promos, if I could help them make printed material, if I could get them connections with other wrestlers. It was great, because then I'm not involved with any of the booking decisions. But if the booker is looking for somebody, he can come to me and I can give him 4 or 5 names of people that I know that are good. And I try to keep up on who's staying busy and who's doing good things, so that I can keep, sending them back into the circle for us. Cause that's the other things. We don't want phase one to become stagnant, and where they're seeing the same guys doing the same things over and over. We want to continue bringing in new people and getting to see new lineups and new pair ups that keep the show exciting and has everybody engaged.
I will attest that you sir, are not just a competent graphic designer. You're a good graphic designer because for anyone who doesn't know, we have a logo. So the one up here was the old logo, but
Yes.
now the one down here happens to have been designed by the man up here. And man, it was so simplistic, the little things, and I love that the kind of mind that you have for professional wrestling and how you can help develop these stories or even pitch stories and create this a common, like, just cultivate this show for people to watch and enjoy in this area.
I am just so thankful to be a part of it. And again, the team that puts all of this together, it is very much a team effort. And I am very much here because I love working with these people, and our opportunities to work with some of the local schools here is just huge. Gino runs the Off the Ropes school here in Albuquerque, Gino Rivera. He's the head coach over there, and he's been so generous. Before I was even working with Phase One, he reached out to me and he's like, come by the school. He's like, I want you just to, talk to these guys and see if there's anything you can help them with. I have students or even people that don't even go to his school hitting me up. He does referrals to me to help, like, with t-shirt designs and stuff. He just, like, Gino is very giving and, like, wants to just give back to anybody who's willing to ask questions and that wants to be better. And before Phase One had the opportunity to work directly with his school, Off the Ropes was quick to have me over and just open their doors to me. And I thought that was, again, a great opportunity. And I've enjoyed working with Gino in that respect as well.
If anything, we're going to have you back on to talk about your full history, to talk about the 10 years.
Definitely.
But as of right now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of why we have you here.
Of course.
You're running your last show of the year.
Yeah, so this is the last event of the year that's going to be under the Phase One banner specifically. We have a few things that we're working on as far as partnerships that we may be able to work out before the end of the year. But as far as like a Phase One branded event, this is the last. This was kind of a test to see how we could establish ourselves within the market, to see how we could make this work. We had booked these 3 events through the Elks Lodge, and the fans have just been overwhelmingly supportive and have packed out our last 2 events. And if this last show is anything like the other ones, we're expecting a sold-out event. And now we have the opportunity to take the success that we've built in the Elks Lodge to be able to take that and possibly look at some bigger venues, look at bringing in some other bigger talent that can help build up our students here. And so we have a few things that we're really trying to build for 2025. But this is our last show of the year under the Phase One banner, and we cannot be more excited and thankful for the support that we've had from the New Mexico wrestling fans.
2025 Phase 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, 2 Phase 2-1.
Once you guys are ready to bring on other talent, I don't want to say bigger talent, but other talent from anywhere, hit us up. We got like a list of people that just want to be here in New Mexico. We're super excited. So let's get into the card, because this is probably the craziest card that you guys have come up with. And I've been helping for this will be the entire time. I've been here the entire time. This is the craziest card that I've gotten to see you guys build, which is insane.
I'd love to, start talking about it from the bottom up, just to kind of give you guys a look. So far, we have announced 7 matches. The first that I want to talk about, and really they're in no particular order, but the first one that I want to talk about is Baker the Breaker, Jeff Code. He was in our main event last month, and he just every single time has just really brought it. This guy, he is trained out of Phoenix, and we have just been blown away. It was the first opportunity I had to see him work at our marking out event in March. And we have Baker taking on Just Joe. And these 2 guys are just getting better and better every single time that I see them. And I know this is going to be a hard-hitting, strong style type match. And I think the fans are in for a treat for this one. It's going to be outstanding.
Joe won his match against Jay Garland using a cigarette, sir. Using a cigarette.
The referee, the call is official, so I don't know how that works into the to the rules, but the officials ruling stands. Yeah.
I don't, I don't like this at all. I don't get the gimmick. Why do we have just a sign? The sign doesn't say anything. What are we doing here? You know what? I'm going with Baker on this one. If I'm going to play devil's advocate, I'm going to do Baker because I don't even understand Joe's whole gimmick. I don't understand what he's doing. He's coming in here acting like he's a blue collar worker with nothing on the sign. Can you not spell? I don't get it. I don't. That's how I feel. What about you, Chris?
I am going to go with just Joe, honestly, on this one. If I had to put out a prediction, I like that blue collar aspect. I thought the sign was a great, I like the the whole match as a whole with the crowd interaction, especially with Joe, particularly in his match with Jay Garland. So I'm interested to see what he can pull out in this match with Baker.
The last thing I can say, Don, is that if you can't read the sign, then you're missing the message. The next matchup that we have announced right now, this one is, every one of these has potential to steal the show, but we have Money Monroe versus JKM, the Red X. And JKM, the Phase 1 fans had an opportunity to see him at our first show in Marking Out. He's been killing it over at these GCW shows. He's been over at Squared Circle Pro. He is making his presence known every single one of these promotions he pops over. He is a living highlight reel. And Money Monroe, his first time wrestling in New Mexico was at our Marking Out event. Since then, he has been making a name for himself in this territory. He's been all over Duke City Championship Wrestling, and he is I see so much potential in what Money Monroe. He is money. This guy is every time he steps in that ring, he is going to give these fans a show. And so these two guys with their contrasting styles, but also they are hungry. They want to do it. And everybody needs to have their phones out because you could have a highlight of the night right there all throughout this match.
So quick question about the JKM match. Are you ever scared that he jumps just a little too high and hits the ceiling? And
I fear for JKM, but we have insurance for the ceiling tile, so that's
okay.
It's a weird way to look at it because we haven't seen him in New Mexico in quite a long time since you guys run quarterly. Dante King versus the Last American Hitchhiker, Colt.
Man, I am such a fan of both of these guys. Dante King, I had an opportunity to see him training at Off the Ropes here in Albuquerque whenever he's starting out. And the very first time I saw him work, I just saw that he had it. Just the way that he moves in a ring, he is so comfortable in that ring. This is just where he belongs. And it's crazy. I feel like he could do it with his eyes closed. He is just so that is where he belongs. And I was just blown away. And so Dante King had the opportunity to move to Las Vegas and really start to work for some of these bigger promotions, get more eyes on him. And I've just loved seeing the reception he's been getting from fans nationwide and the opportunities he's had even to be on television for national platforms. I think that's huge. And so King, I truly believe I could see him on an AEW or NXT within the next few years. If they called him today, he'd be ready for it. My eyes are on him to be a household name sooner rather than later.
I can attest to this because when we went to Utah, we watched Dante King in his match over in one of the promotions there. And having interviewed him, he takes a lot of pride in how he works in the ring. Particularly what I liked about him, about his in-ring style is his kicks, particularly those savage kicks of his, but combating against someone who's got the momentum of beating Ramrock in Colt. that's kind of something that I'm curious to see how that's going to play out in the.
Yeah, if we want to talk about kicks, that kick from Colt has been like every single time I see it, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't look. You're gonna take somebody's head off. Colt, I've been following his entire wrestling path, and I guess I will just say this, that Colt is I'll peel the curtain back. I'm curious if I was going to say it. I've known Colt since he was a child. Whenever I moved here to start wrestling in 2010, Colt was around a wrestling ring. Colt has had wrestling in his blood since, probably as soon as he could walk. He has been around wrestling. This is what he's like wanted. This is not a situation where it's like, well, it's around, so I'm just going to dabble in it. Like, this kid has a love and a passion for wrestling, and it's not just like, man, I love John Cena and The Rock. Like, this guy is watching old VHS tapes, and he's like, this guy has such a passion for the art of wrestling, and then such a unique like approach to wrestling. It is unlike anything I've seen before. When I found out about Mr. Rogers, it was like, wow, that's going to be really challenging to incorporate into these matches. And every single time I am just blown away at his unique offense, his just performance as a whole. He's just like so entertaining. And then he had an opportunity to work with GCW recently, has some more opportunities that I don't know have been announced quite yet, but just like a lot of big things on the horizon for Colt, and a lot of big things on the horizon for King. And seeing these two rising stars get an opportunity to work each other, I think this is a situation of iron sharpening iron. You know, they're both going to leave this match taking away something that they can go and use elsewhere to continue to feed their passion for this.
It's crazy too to see that these two young men have gone up against crazy people in the industry. And I'm going to go with Dante being on TNA Explosion, the first episode of its reiteration after Impact rebranded to TNA. He was lucky enough to be on that, going up against Kozlov, while Colt trended on Twitter for like a good 10 minutes after Mance almost killed Mr. Rogers. So it's crazy to see where these guys are going, how well they are in the ring, and how popular they're getting amongst the entire country.
Yeah.
I can't pick one. I'm just going to enjoy it. This one's going to be a fun one. That's all I can say. Definitely for anybody who's listening in, they want to know who these two men are. Dante King and Colt, the Last American Hitchhiker. He's a little harder. Just look outside your window. He might be standing out there, but you'll find him eventually.
Yeah, Colt doesn't have any social medias out there. There's really no direct connections on like how to get a hold of him. Really, the only way to get any kind of contact is through the Colt following, the Cult of Colt. Stevie Rogerson is the head of the investigative team of the Cult of Colt. And so if you are looking for any information on him, want to see any of his stuff, look up the Cult of Colt, and Stevie Rogerson will be happy to give you any information, and also is always looking for videos, pictures, any evidence they can get to learn more about this mysterious guy.
We need to get a picture of Colt just walking as the same way as the Bigfoot photo. I need it now. I'm determined to get that.
Some say he lives in the Sendias. Some say.
Let's go into the next match, which is going to be a tag team match featuring the Family Trust versus the debuting Prime Wrestling Academy.
Yeah, this is actually, this match surprised me to see come across our desk. At the very first show and marking out, the head coach, or at least my connection with the coach over there, Luis Super Chaos, he was backstage, A handful of these Prime students were there in attendance at this, and so I had an opportunity to catch up with Super Chaos and just hear more about the school they're having there, and been able to see how they have really broken down their curriculum within their school to approach the art of wrestling. And they are not as big as creating characters as they are creating athletes. They want somebody who can go in there and have a deep knowledge of their footwork and their hand placement and how to wrestle. And the two guys that Prime has put forward, Jacob and Triste, they are outstanding athletes. I've had an opportunity to see some of their work in the ring in the school there and clips from some of the matches they've done. These two guys are athletes. They are there to put the Family Trust to the test. The Family Trust, they also had their start in a Albuquerque-based wrestling school here with Off the Ropes. You have Metal and El Cachumeno Tomas Silva, managed by Lucas Scratch. And these guys will do anything to win. As we've seen in the last few matches, they will fight dirty, tooth and nail to get that victory. They are finding their rhythm as a tag team, and they were looking quite dominant in their last showing. And I know since then they've only been putting in more work, and we're looking forward to just seeing what these two teams do whenever you have like these mixture of combustible elements that have now crashed into each other. If you haven't seen our most recent video that we posted,
Boo! Triste's our boy, so I'm biased completely. I know I'm supposed to be unbiased. I'm 100% biased. Triste for the win. Boo to Lucas Scratch.
I'm gonna go with Triste. I love the lucha style that Triste brings to the table. It's something that you would think that in New Mexico that lucha style would be more prevalent in a lot of the territory, but it's good to kind of showcase that at Phase 1 Pro for this upcoming card. So I'm looking forward to Triste and El Mero kind of like clashing styles with that brute force versus that lucha. So
that's so well said, Chris, because we are in the Southwest. We're so close to Mexico. You really would expect you would see a lot of lucha libre styles around this area, and it's not super common. I mean, on our card previously, the closest one could probably say that we were to the lucha libre style is JKM. He's obviously has the mask, and like his style of wrestling is very similar to the lucha libre, but the styles of wrestling they teach at the Prime Pro Wrestling is a strong foundation in American style, a strong foundation in the lucha libre style. Danny G over there. Danny G has traveled all around the area doing lucha libre, and he's like made a name for himself. Super Chaos is so competent in both styles, and like there could not be a better learning tree for these students to be under over there.
Boo, Lucas Scratch. Boo.
And I do want to take a moment for how you feel about Lucas Scratch. Man, Lucas, that guy, he has a golden tongue. You can have your feelings about the things that he says, but it is you are hanging on every word. You want to hear what this man has to say, so you can boo him. But Lucas Scratch, this guy is worth his weight in gold. Put a microphone in his hand and just let the cameras run.
Our next match, and this one I'm actually kind of excited, Ray, for you to give us a little inside baseball for this one, because I've never gotten to see this gentleman compete. Quesada versus Davis.
Yeah, so this one, is going back far. Both Joe Quesada and Tony Davis, more commonly maybe known as Turbo Tony, but in Phase 1, Tony Davis is a very different person whenever he's working in Rio Rancho than you may see him in downtown Albuquerque. But the Burke Bulldozer Quesada, he has been a dominant force in the Southwest for a long time, and he took a break whenever Destiny Wrestling closed up shop in 2018, I believe, was his last match that he had, and recently has been training at the Off the Ropes school here. And his style of wrestling is very collegiate based. I have had the honor to work with him in a handful of matches, and he folded me up like a folding chair, and I with a German suplex that I somehow was like twisted in a knot right whenever he threw me. This guy is dominant, and you guys are going to be able to see him live up to this name, the Burke Bulldozer, as he just like plows through and is throwing Davis around. But the last time these guys wrestled, to at least my knowledge, was, I believe, in Moriarty. And this was back in 2014, 2012, maybe. It was, this was over 10 years ago, and Davis has packed on easily 50 pounds of muscle. He is not going to get, not going to let Joe just throw him all over. He's going to have to work for it. And seeing how Tony has taken his fitness journey so seriously and has like really been able to grow in the wrestling community has been amazing. But Joe Quesada, he's had a match. He's a former champion in Destiny Wrestling. He's had matches against Mike Quackenbush. He's had matches against some of the biggest talent that's come through the territory. Joe Quesada was the formidable opponent against these guys, and anybody who's like come through during the time when Quesada was active was put in the ring with them and didn't leave the ring the same way they went in.
I'm excited for this. We have a ladies match next. I'm very excited for this one. Let me give her a little hype because she definitely deserves it. When in the future, generations from now, when people think of female New Mexico wrestlers, she better be on the top because she is basically like the Britt Baker of this state when we think about it. This woman got a concussion during a match for a major company, and she still performed amazing. She has traveled all over. She has won countless matches against top indie stars. And she's also going to be doing an autograph signing later this month with Joe Hendry too, which is insane. We have one Gypsy Mac coming back to Albuquerque, going up against a talent that I'm not too familiar with, but I've heard of and definitely has started building herself. Zamaya. Ray, how?
Yeah, so Zamaya, she is fairly new to the scene, as you would imagine, but she's, I think, on her second year in professional wrestling. But in those 2 years, she's managed to be on some of the biggest promotions in the Southwest. She is currently slated to be on Phoenix Championship Wrestling's event later this month. She had an opportunity to work for Ring of Honor. She is on the fast track to success, and this is going to be a real treat because her style of wrestling is so intense. Like, she is just full of intensity. She is just going to come into that ring and just like electrify the place, as you can probably tell by her makeup. But that is just like the presence that she brings into every space that she goes into. It is just, going to be, it's just going to be a treat for everybody because, as you're saying, Gypsy, she's started in New Mexico, went to Las Vegas, and is the same way I said to Dante. I could see her being on NXT, AEW. I could see her being on Impact if they called her today. And I feel the exact same way about Zamaya, and she's only 2 years in.
It's time for the main event. It's time for us. Not even for us, honestly. It's time for these two men to settle a score that we have been thrown into just wildly. I am going to say I'm very biased. When we interviewed one Kevin Koa, I made that very clear that a Tommy Two Scoops test is our boy. If you've seen our content, which you guys have because you guys are fans, you guys can tell that we do love Tommy. Sir, what is going on with the front office? And I'm gonna blame y'all for this one. What is going on with front office to sanction a no disqualification steel chair match. Explain that. What was y'all's thinking? Why?
We are here to finally get a goddamn answer from the one, the only Tommy Test. The office is wondering, the fans are wondering, what are we doing? What's the main event? There's been one man that's made my life a living hell. You know who I'm calling out? August 24th at Phase 1 Pro? Kevin Koa.
Tommy, I get why you want to fight me. But what I don't understand is, why would you want to fight me in a no DQ steel chairs match? You know damn well how dangerous I am with a steel chair. See you next week, Tommy. Bye. And in New Mexico, I am going to hurt you.
You think you want to take everything? Koa, don't think I never forgot. Gone after my tag team partner, he's gone after my trainer, Don Vitale. At this point, there's only one way to settle this differences in that ring. I want you on my home turf. I want you in New Mexico. I want you in Rio Rancho.
On August 24th at Phase 1 Pro Wrestling's bump card, all of New Mexico will witness hell.
Yeah, sometimes these types of things, you have an idea that you have put in place and you start like working towards that, and it starts to build and it takes on a life of its own. And I feel like that was very much this situation here. You have Tommy winning this gauntlet match, and anybody who was like paying close attention, we have this heated situation between Ocean Avery and Tommy Two Scoops. They're now in this gauntlet match together, and Ocean can't compete. And now we are in a situation where we have all these other strong competitors in this gauntlet match that very well could have main evented this show. Like, we have all these like different people that we can choose from and see, who is going to be the best person to push us, forward for what next season can hold. And Tommy ends up winning this match. He now has the opportunity to name his opponent. It could have been JKM. It could have been Dante. It could have been, he could have called around anybody, and he calls out Kevin Koa. I'm completely caught off guard by this history that they have, and he's like, this is who I want. This is who I want you guys to bring in here, make this happen. So we obviously reach out to Kevin. He immediately accepts this offer, and he's like, this is something this bigger than Phase 1. This has been something brewing between them for years. And so it's such a delight that we're going to be able to witness this. And then they go and start raising the stakes on each other. And not only are they was Tommy able to choose his stipulation or his opponent, he's able to choose a stipulation. And Kevin tells him, if you want this, I want it in a steel chair match. And obviously Two Scoops takes him up on it. So it's like, these guys have bad blood that goes back from when they first were training back in Phoenix. And this has been something that I think has been bubbling under the surface for a long time. And Phase 1 gave us a platform to take two athletes that have all this history to be able to unfold and tell the story in front of a Rio Rancho audience. Like, that is just amazing. And the ethics of having these two men tear each other apart with steel chairs, will be something that we'll have to debate over. But I can guarantee it's going to be a show. It's going to be something that everybody that leaves that event is going to remember seeing. And these two are going to leave it all in the ring to give this audience the best show. And we'll see who walks out of that main event.
This is scary. I don't like it. Chris, look at me. You're taking the chair shot for Tommy. You're taking the chair shot. We can't let our poor boy just get brutalized by one Kevin Koa.
Okay. I'll totally just set my camera off to the side so I can just jump in.
What are you talking about? We got a tripod, dude. You can do it. You can...
No thanks. I've seen what Tommy and Koa have done with chairs in their multi-promotional rivalry, but in that regard, it's Tommy Test's home turf at this point.
Yeah. Koa knows he's coming to the Lion's Den. If you have been to any Phase 1 shows or even Duke City shows, any show that Tommy's on, you know that the 2 scoops section, you're going to hear people, 2 scoops. People are there to see Tommy. And Koa has said that he's here to take that away from Tommy. That these fans, they could riot, but Koa doesn't care. He is here to take this territory. He's here to take everything he can from Tommy, and it is beyond just wrestling. It is like I said, these moments that you could only hope for as a wrestling fan, to be able to see something like this that just built organically. This was not something that was just pieced together by a booker somewhere. This was something that these two were able to build on, and just to live it and be there for it is going to be amazing.
And I love the story going into this main event, with Koa appearing in a brand new territory to conquer it, with Tommy Test being the stalwart that he is and defending that title of being New Mexico's top wrestler. Coming into that, so the story behind that is going to be interesting in this match playing out. So,
yeah,
we have a Marvel-esque storyline for this, and it's scary and cool. And yeah, like you said, Koa's never been here. He made that very clear on our show. He's never been here. He's never wrestled here. He kind of talked trash about us. So to see him come in here as confident as he is, this is not Phoenix. It looks the same because it's all barren, but it's not Phoenix. So I'm Chris. I'm not going to be able to hold the camera during this one, dude.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out for him. The fans are not going to be welcoming of a guy who said that he is there to pretty much spit in their face.
Let's get a little bit into the people that haven't been announced in matches, but are on the bottom of the poster. We have one, Manny Lemons, who we were lucky enough to have on the podcast. Aaron Harms, who we actually got to sit down and chat with a little bit off camera when we took our trip to OSW, and one Jay Garland. Like, you guys have just completely blown the card up. You guys have made sure that no matter what, nobody can say that there's a hole in this card. Can we get a little insight at what you guys think you guys are going to do with those 3 gentlemen there alone?
Yeah, so we still have a little bit more time before the show. We do intend to have, if I'm not mistaken, I think that we're going to have the entire card announced prior to going into the show. So nobody will be going into the event not knowing at least the intended lineup. Cards always subject to change, but either way, we plan to have a firm card before that event goes. And like you were saying, we've announced some outstanding talent that these people have seen, but we have some opportunities for them to see some people they haven't seen, especially with Aaron Harms. This guy is an impressive athlete. His work that he's had around the Southwest and like in his travels has just been absolutely impressive. And I think that New Mexico fans potentially had a chance to see him work in Clovis with Duke City Championship Wrestling down there. But it is just such a delight for us to get a chance to work with him. And he was one of the early people that we were able to get on our show. And we just had been trying to figure out, not trying to figure out, we knew instantly where we wanted him in this. And we are really excited to see the opportunity that we are going to be able to announce for him. And our fans are going to be in for a treat. And we hope to continue to work with Aaron for many more shows after this.
Oh yeah, no, this is a hell of a show, my guy. I can't hype this show enough. I'm super excited. I know Chris is super excited. Morgan's super excited to see all of you guys again, and she'll be able to take her perspective view again. We here at Downtime in the Ring are very grateful that you guys have let us just work with you guys in so many different ways. We can't wait to finally get to August 24th. But as happy as we are also sad. You know, we don't know what's coming in 2025. The real question is when are you getting a Phase 1 Pro world title, and who do I have to steal that from? That's the real question. Are we getting that next year?
We'll have to wait and see what comes in the next year, but I do know that we are working hard to every single show to find out ways to put on a better event for our fans. And we hear the feedback that we've gotten as far as like some of the things that we've done this year. And we're trying to take all of that feedback and figure out how we can improve on it. We're exploring new venue opportunities. We're exploring new sponsorship opportunities. We're also exploring new match types that we can do. We definitely want to showcase different styles of wrestling. We want to make sure that we keep a strong women's division. I think women wrestling is so important within like the whole picture of wrestling, and seeing this renaissance of wrestling that's been happening. We want to make sure that we can showcase any and all people that we can. We're working with a lot of different schools around the area. Jay Garland, he is the coach for Sonoran Championship Wrestling out in Arizona. He's going to be bringing some students with him that are going to get an opportunity to meet some of the people here and make those connections. We have Off the Ropes here in Albuquerque, Prime Pro Wrestling. There's students from the OSW school that have been talking to us. There's just everybody around the area. We want them to know that Phase 1 wants to talk with you, and we want to see the hungry individuals that want to come in here. And we have limited space on our card, but we want to give them opportunities to grow and be better and show our wrestling fans that New Mexico can be a mecca of professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, no, it seems like there's a ton of people. We know certain female wrestlers that have been wanting to mark New Mexico off their list. So we hope that we, in any way that we can help, get in contact or whatever, we would love to help the women's division too. Another huge question is, when are we getting a 2-night event? A 2-night Phase Phase 1 Pro. I want a 2-night Phase 1 Pro. That's what I want.
Yeah, we'll definitely consider that. Once we can get our streaming service up and running, and the Phase 1 network.
Oh, don't even.
$9.99.
Yeah, exactly. $9.99.
$9.99 on Thursday.
Yeah,
it'll be a Wednesday and Thursday only show. This is super exciting that we are getting into 2025, at least for you guys. I mean, obviously we're still in August, but for you guys, it's the end of the year. Looking back at any of these shows, are there anything that you yourself would think like, oh, we could have changed?
It's tough, man. I think that everything that we've done has given us something to take from it that has only improved what we've done the next time. So like, I can't think of any one thing that I would have done differently, because every experience that we've had from that has helped us grow to be better for the next time. And I'm just thankful for that opportunity. Playing a little bit of insider baseball, there was a person who I was helping agent a match for, and I wanted the fans to have a different reaction to them. And I did not know that they were billed from Texas. And once they billed them from Texas, the fans turned on them immediately. And I was like, oh my God, that is not what I wanted to happen. That's not what I thought was gonna happen. I was like, why didn't you tell me you say you're from Texas? That's instant heat. Everyone hates Texas and New Mexico. So we, again, took that feedback and were able to make that adjustment so that, that didn't happen for future events as well. But, yeah.
Our rivalry with Texas. Yeah. It's like we care, but they don't.
Yeah.
So great. So thank you again for letting us do this. We couldn't be more grateful, man. I get very excited, even getting to, talk to you off camera and just be like, all right, what's next? What do you need us to do? What's going on? Because it's been fun being able to be a part of the wrestling scene here and help it grow in any way that we possibly can, even on this show. First off, as we begin to wind down, where can everybody find all of the socials?
Yeah, so P1P Wrestling across all the social media platforms. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. P1P Wrestling is the way to find us. And I would like to at least do an announcement here, or at least a teaser a little bit, that I've had an opportunity to speak with you guys about a really exciting opportunity for this next show. And I'm not prepared to let the audience know what that is, but I will say keep a very close eye on our social media in the coming weeks, especially close to the event time, because Phase 1 Pro and Downtime in the Ring is going to be doing something very special for you fans.
We're gonna start a cross-branded OnlyFans just for you. I'll take that out. I'll take that out. I lost track. Chris, do you got anything else to say?
No. I'm just appreciate that in the short amount of time that we've been doing this show, you have been open arms and welcoming us into helping us like bring wrestling into New Mexico and having it grow and being able to talk with these promotions, getting to build these relationships, getting to see the up and coming, seeing the developments coming from Off the Ropes, from Prime Wrestling, and even within the territory. I'm very grateful that you were so gracious in letting us into your home and allowing us to do things such as like these branded podcasts or even social media clips and stuff like that. It's so interesting for me, having been my first year kind of being introduced into all of this stuff, and how Donovan knows the way in a sense, but also looking to you for guidance and stuff like this. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, professional wrestling is a fickle beast. Donovan can tell you that every locker room, every wrestler, every place, every territory has a different approach to the way they feel that professional wrestling should be done. And it's a very difficult place to navigate if you don't have somebody to help support you guys. But going back to whenever I first was introduced to the work that you guys do, it was the right decision from the get-go to want to work with you guys. You guys work so hard. You take this super seriously. I mean, you guys may be very unserious on the mic, but you guys take the work that you do so serious. And like, you guys are constantly streaming. You guys are constantly interviewing people. You guys are in our inbox asking what you can do. You're popping over to wrestling shows, doing on-site stuff. You guys work your asses off. And it was there's no way that I could have seen Phase 1 continue to grow the way that we were without trying to bring in people with that type of motivation and that type of heart for what they're doing. Passion is a huge thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna tear up. Thank you, Ray. Also, because of you guys actually letting Goober over there into the area and getting to start being a part of the business, Homeboy was able to take apart and or just take down his first ring when we went to Odessa. So congratulations to Chris. He actually got to do that because I said he has experience backstage. So, and plus Ocean kind of vouched.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun the first half dozen times, and then dozens and dozens of times after that, you're like, oh my God, this is so much work.
It is.
Like I said, a certain individual, when the ring needed to be looked down, looked straight at me and said, "You've done this enough. You should know how to do it. It should be done fairly quickly." And I was like, "Oh, thank you just for pointing me out on that one." But thank you again. This is our episode. This is our thoughts on Bump Card. I'm still going to pressure him to see when we have the Phase 1 World Championship so I can just go and yoink it off somebody else. We can't wait. We will be there August 24th. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope this was insightful for you guys. And if it was, comment, let us know, hit us up in our inboxes. And this might become a regular thing for Phase 1, where when they bring somebody new into the territory, we may just sit down and give our thoughts. And hopefully then maybe I'll understand Joe's gimmick. I probably won't. And we will see each and every one of you in the next video.